the Dakota Garden Expo. It's a show in Bismarck here at the Bismarck Event Center. Tree Rose For You does a booth and an exhibit and even some educational classes and some activities there every year for a few years here in a row running. This year, the Dakota Garden Expo is going to be April 19th from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. and April 20th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So that's a Friday evening and a Saturday kind of midday. So we've got a few hours there. Hopefully lots of people from the community can get out and come enjoy this show. It's one of our favorite events that we do. The timing of it is great because it's probably 2 or 3 weeks somewhere in there ahead of what our tree planting season starting is. This week or this year, I think we're going to be, just maybe 1 or 2 weeks ahead of the season because it seems like it's going to be an early spring for us. Knock on wood. It's a great opportunity at the beginning of the season or just before the season start, where vendors can all get together. It's a lot of vendors that we personally at Tree Rose For You have worked with. There's a lot of manufacturers out there, there's nurseries out there, there's garden centers out there, landscapers, all kinds of garden and home and tree related businesses that are there. But what's really special to us is a lot of our customers are there, a lot of like-minded people who just enjoy the outdoors and enjoy growing plants and putting them in their property, in their yard, watching them grow, getting the great benefits of the outdoors and plant life that we can get, which is something really special, I think, here in North Dakota. So I think that's probably my favorite part of the show, is just seeing all you guys there and getting to talk about how the last season went for you and what you're excited about this season, and talk about your plans and our plans. It's just a great time for everybody to get together and talk about gardening, talk about trees and plants in North Dakota. Come on down and see us. Again, Bismarck Event Center, Dakota Garden Expo, Tree Rose For You. Hi, I'm Tom from Tree Rose For You. You might not be thinking about trimming trees right now because it is February in North Dakota. Or maybe with the warm weather, you are thinking about your trees right now. But either way, right now is a good time to trim your trees. If you can get out there without having to step through too much mud, that is. But it's a great time right now because everything's dormant for your shade trees. So there's really no worry about disease or insect infestation or the tree trying to push too much of its energy towards repairing whatever you've cut off. You can go ahead and trim it right now, and in the spring when they wake up, they'll just seal that cut over. They shouldn't really try too hard to push up new growth through that. What does come through will be very small, and you can go ahead and make your cuts on any of those undesirable branches. So for shade trees and fruit trees, the best time to trim them is during their dormant season, which is going to be in North Dakota, usually about October through maybe mid-April. In April, you'll start to see some of your buds on your shade trees and fruit trees will start getting bigger. They'll start opening it up. And once that happens, then unless you're trying to promote growth in a specific area, you really want to stay away from trimming. So you want to try to keep it less than 25% of the mass of the tree. So if you look at the branches and you've got 50 branches on there, you want to take no more than 12 branches off, just as a rough guideline for you. If you go to treerose4u.com, treerose4u.com, you should see a tab labeled articles, and we've got all kinds of helpful articles on there, from tree trimming to planting trees for reducing energy costs around your home, or creating windbreaks, privacy fences, all kinds of stuff.
Hi, I'm Jessica Meyer.
And I'm Tom Meyer.
We're with Tree Rose for You.
So this is our third year in business, but we've been planting trees for over 25 years. So we planted these trees ourselves by hand, and there's over 200 trees here on our property. We planted all of these by hand, and there was just a necessity for a better way for folks to plant lots and lots of happy little trees around their house.
We also had a tree lot, or not tree lot, we had a lake lot that we wanted to plant trees on. And he's like, well, I'm going to build a tree planter. And I was like, for just our trees? And then what are you going to do with it, you know? So, and then he had talked to one of the nurseries, and the guy's like, well, you should maybe get into business doing that. People are asking all the time, like, who can plant these for us? Because we don't want to do it. So he thought about that more and more, and he's like, think I want to do it. I want to get out there and plant more trees. So
there's not a lot for who will plant
like a small
large quantities of trees, and for the small, like, conservation grade trees in Burleigh County, they only do large properties for farms and ranches. That's their purpose. That's what they were created for. So if you've got a 1 or 2 acre lot, you can buy the trees through soil conservation. You can actually buy them through any of the soil conservation districts, but they will not plant them for you in Burleigh County. So that's actually why we planted these ourselves by hand with a crew of about 12 and 2 10-hour days worth of work. So when we went to do it again, I actually built machinery so that we could plant the trees and lay the fabric ourselves, and that took only a few hours, and I think there was 4 of us that did that in a few hours with the machinery. And then talking through the Burleigh County Soil Conservation, it sounded like there was actually a pretty high demand, and we found there is a pretty high demand for people to provide that service for people that have smaller properties, under that 100-acre mark. So we started up a business, and we planted thousands of trees that year, and I think we've planted thousands and tens of thousands of trees every year since.
I was just telling a story about one day when it was like hot and the bugs were bad, and mulch might have been involved in some of the stuff, but we just laugh about it. We get over it. It's fine. He does.
Are you talking about those bags of mulch that you threw at me? Is that what you...
But for the most part, it's fine, and we come home. Yeah, we come home and we still get along. Yeah.
And
he does a lot of like
of every
equipment
spring and
work.
Again by the end of the summer. So love her. The Dakota Garden Expo. It's a show in Bismarck here at the Bismarck Event Center. Tree Rose for You does a booth and an exhibit, and even some educational classes and some activities there every year for a few years here in a row running. This year, the Dakota Garden Expo is going to be April 19th from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. and April 20th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So that's a Friday evening and a Saturday kind of midday. So we've got a few hours there. Hopefully lots of people from the community can get out and come enjoy this show. Like I said, Tree Rose for You, we do this event every year. It's one of our favorite events that we do. The timing of it is great because it's probably 2 or 3 weeks somewhere in there ahead of what our tree planting season starting is. And this year, I think we're going to be, just maybe 1 or 2 weeks ahead of the season because it seems like it's going to be an early spring for us. Knock on wood, So I think it's going to be a great year. We're already kind of warming up, having a little bit of that spring weather. I've got the itch already. Hopefully, a lot of people in Bismarck Mandan are getting that itch already to get outside and get some stuff going for spring. We've always got some giveaways that we do, and we like to kind of hold those tight and secret up until the events come near, and then we'll put out some information about what we're going to be doing for giveaways and exciting things then. One thing we do every year is we do a presentation on how to plant bare root trees. So we do a little classroom educational, we've got some kind of boring slides and pictures, and you got to listen to me talk for a little while about how to plant trees. But after you've suffered through that, then we turn you loose. We've got some bare root seedlings. We've got some little pots. We've got some potting soil. And then you can get your hands on, it's a great chance a little early in the year where you can get your hands dirty and learn how to plant trees, actually plant that tree yourself, and then you get to take that tree home with you. So you get a free tree just for showing up. It's really cool for kids, seem to really like the activity. So you got a group of youngsters that you want to keep busy for a couple hours on Saturday. Saturday at noon, April 20th in the Bismarck Event Center. We'll be doing the presentation, and then get their hands dirty, plant a tree, take it home with them, and then you can take it, put it in your yard. Probably the most common way that you will see trees sold in nurseries or garden centers is in container trees. For trees, you're usually looking at number 1 size nursery container up to maybe a number 25 size nursery container. And that probably doesn't mean a whole lot to you, just a number for a size, but they call them 1 gallon or 10 gallon or 25 gallon trees, although they're not actually a full US gallon. It's a little bit smaller in actual US gallons than what the nursery container size standard is, or trade size is. Like evergreens, you'll see those a lot of times in number 2 size, which is about 1.5 gallons size, up to maybe a number 25 size, which is about 20 US gallon size. You know, it's probably 18 inches in diameter, 15 or 18 inches tall. This tree right here, so this would be a 5 to 6 foot tall spruce, Black Hills spruce tree. If this were in a nursery container, it would be in at least a number 25 size nursery container. A number 25 size container, like I said, would be about 18 inch diameter, and it'd probably be about 18 inches tall. And that's going to have a root ball mass somewhere around, you know, if it's field grown and it's in dirt, that's probably going to be about 200 pound, 250 pound tree. So you're probably going to need some equipment to move that around. I'm a pretty big guy. I go to the gym, I lift. I don't think I could pick up and plant a 350 pound tree by myself with my hands. So, and moving it from the driveway all the way across the yard would be a whole nother story without equipment. Tree Rows for You, we've got that specialized equipment. A lot of the equipment we've built ourselves. That's pretty typical in the nursery industry for tree farm owners and you know, nursery owners to build a lot of their own equipment because it's so niche, it's so specialized. There aren't a ton of manufacturers out there that make stuff for these specific jobs that we need to do on nurseries, tree farms, and planting trees. So we just end up building it ourselves, but we've got specialized equipment that we've built for handling the trees themselves. We get up to a 8-9 foot tall spruce tree that can weigh close to 1,000 pounds. You know, and we've got a root ball grabber that's a hydraulic attachment that you can attach to a skid steer or a tractor, or we've got it on a small articulating loader. And basically it's just a hydraulic set of hands that we can grab the root mass of those trees, the root balls of those trees with, and carry them around, place them exactly how we need them. It just makes it convenient for us to be able to place them the proper way. If you go to treerows4u.com, treerows4u.com, you should see a tab labeled articles, and we've got all kinds of helpful articles on there, from tree trimming to planting trees for reducing energy costs around your home, or creating windbreaks, privacy fences, all kinds of stuff. Okay, so once we start getting into early spring, late winter in North Dakota, we start thinking about maybe being concerned with winter burn on our evergreens. An evergreen tree never goes dormant. So in the wintertime, the roots will freeze up in the ground and they're no longer able to take up water. But if we've got nice warm days like today where it's 45, almost 50 degrees out, we had nice sunshine today, the top side where the green needles are, they'll start to wake up, and when they wake up, they start going through photosynthesis and using up water just like they would during the growing season. So for this tree, all of the water that it's going to use through the winter up until the ground thaws out and it's back into its growing season next spring, it had to store all that water up from its roots in the fall. So you want to make sure to prevent winter burn. Your trees get lots of water. Give them a real good soak in the late fall before the ground freezes up. That way they can draw up that water and store it in their needles for the winter. You can see on this tree, arborvitaes are a little bit more sensitive to drought and then to winter burn. So they can be a problem in North Dakota. If they're cared for pretty well and put into protected spaces, they should do just fine. But this one here, it's on the northwest corner, so it's in the wind a little bit. Before we had protection from the other trees, it got hit pretty hard. And you can see it's still got a little bit of signs of winter burn here on some of these branches where it's starting to brown. Those are drying up because it's been a warm winter, so it's probably gone through a lot of water that it had stored up earlier. Got some of this on the top here. This stuff's like crispy and falling off, and that's probably never gonna come back. So what'll happen is some of these healthy branches will take over and they'll be the new leader. Some of this stuff where we've just got a little bit of brown on the tips, this will probably be fine and most of this will pull through. On the back side here, this guy's real ugly. We're not too concerned about that because nobody really sees that from the front of the house anyways, but this had previously experienced real bad winter burn. When it was exposed, we didn't have these other tall trees in, and it was right in the northwest where all the wind comes out of, that, you know, dry winds in the winter blowing past. Just really wreaked a lot of havoc on here. And so when it got this bad winter burn, it browned up, the needles fell off, and this stuff just totally dried up. It is dead, and this stuff won't come back. You can see this healthy stuff around it is kind of filling in a little bit from the sides and hiding some of that ugly dead stuff from the winter burn. But this stuff's gone. It's never coming back. So if you've got branches that are real big and real ugly hanging out, you can cut those off just to get rid of them if they're unsightly. But like this isn't really causing any problems for anything. You can just leave it and it's fine. Like I said, it's not gonna come back, but at the same time, it's not doing any harm where it's at. So. Just go to the articles tab at treerose4u.com. That's treerose4u.com.